3, 2, 1.
I'm Kristen.
I'm Tony. And we're absolutely stubborn. What's up, everyone? We have a... all right, I'm just going to get into this one because this is a little bit of a... it's hard to watch for multiple reasons. So I'm just going to go straight to the screen there. So title says, man goes off on a registered sex offender for trying to talk to his 6-year-old daughter. These videos are a little tricky because you don't know the full backstory. Although the video, if you were to, we can't hear it, but actually, can we? We'll try it. But the long story short is, this older gentleman is a registered sex offender, admits to it, has been allegedly told multiple times to stay away from this person's kids, his daughters. And being the case, I 100% agree with this, because it sucks because it's an older person, and you don't want to see, at least I don't like to see people get like beat up, but
yeah, and I do believe
what
it
is
is
this
a
guy
mental
doing,
illness.
you know?
However, if he was told multiple times to stay away from this guy's kids, then
Yeah.
I don't blame this guy at all. And it's a scary thing. It's a scary thing to live in the world with sex offenders and know that they're in your neighborhood. It's super scary.
Yeah. So I'm going to play this video. I'm going to try to get the audio working. I don't know if it will, but I'll try. So let's see. I'm going to try it here. Regardless, if not, then we'll kind of we'll try to explain what's going on. So that's the guy. So let me pause it real quick. So the guy, obviously, that slapped that's the younger person that's walking by is the dad. Dude sitting on the little stoop there, that's the Worcestershire the registered sex offender. And let's see, I don't know if you can hear this, but if not, then I'll pause. You got something to effing say it to me. What the F do you have to say to a 6-year-old girl? Agreed. And the wife is the one recording. She's like, Scotty.
And she's like calm about it?
Kind of calm. Pretty calm for the situation.
Oh man, I don't know.
So you can see he's like slamming the guy down, which I get it. It's rough.
I mean,
rough
especially
to
if
see.
you've told them multiple times. But yeah,
It's rough to see.
It's rough.
It's just rough to see that, because if you don't know the backstory, it's horrible.
Yeah, I think it's because you look at him and you see an older gentleman. So you're not initially seeing a sex offender. You're seeing like an old guy getting thrown around. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to see, but I don't blame this guy at all. Especially if he's told him multiple times.
It's a loud smack. That's open hand too. Do you have anything to say to a 6-year-old child? And the guy's like, no, sir, no.
Yeah, I mean, what is the guy going to say?
So he says, my daughter can't play in the front yard because your perverted ass is always kind of like harassing or
hovering
hassling
over,
her.
looking. Yeah, that's...
Phone rings, throws it. He goes, I know about you. You're not allowed to talk to any effing child. He goes, you're lucky I'm slapping you, because if not, I'll break your effing jaw.
I mean, he could probably call the cops on him.
Well, so I'll get there.
It probably is a violation of his parole, I'm sure.
Well, hold on, because this might, we have, I don't know if it's working, but sometimes when it does both, it makes it weird. So I'll try. Well, this is almost done, so. So he says, I know you're a registered sex offender. Yes or no? Yes, he is. He nods. I'm sure you can see that. So what the F do you have to say to my 6-year-old daughter? I agree.
Yeah.
And that's not even him, anybody. And it sucks because you know how like the old times, well, let's finish this. Keep saying this.
So ADD.
So it basically ends there. Yeah, it basically ends there. Let me see, let me put this back on mute. All right. So there's nothing good about this. I mean, I mean, what can you do? What can you do? I mean, so here's I always try to play devil's advocate. It's hard in these situations because it's just
put yourself in that guy's shoes, in the dad's shoes.
Oh yeah, well for sure. I mean, that's why as a dad, I would probably be reacting the very same way. Yeah. As the older person, I'm trying to think. I'm like, why? And in the video, he actually says that it's multiple times that he's told him not to talk to his daughters. So knowing that, it is.
I would have called the cops on him personally.
Let's get there now. So let's fast forward. So let's scroll down, I should say.
But
so we have
it's definitely an illness. It's a mental illness that they have.
It is for sure.
I've read that they can't.
So this one's interesting.
Look, but it's so hard. Yeah.
As a mom of 2 girls, 3 and under 1, I was clenching my teeth in anger watching this. The restraint this man had not to beat him to a pulp is admirable. So I feel like a lot of people see it that way. I don't think anybody is kind of defending it.
In the sense of like he did toss him down and he tossed him around a little bit. I think he slapped him, but he restrained himself from really beating this guy up and possibly getting jail time himself, because even though this guy is a sex offender, you can't just beat up on people.
Yeah.
So I think that was good that he held restraint. I would have called the cops on him.
So let's get to this. So I think this is the person that posted the article, or this post here.
Right.
So he writes, father who confronted this pedophile posted this comment. Now let me stop there real quick, because just because you're a registered sex offender doesn't necessarily mean you're a pedophile, I believe. Right? Like if you rape someone, even if it's older, like if it's 2 people over 18 years old, you could be a registered sex offender, but I don't think it's a pedophile. I don't think it necessarily has to be, like a pedophile incident to be a registered sex offender. But while she researches this.
So exclusive pedophiles are sometimes referred to as true pedophiles. They are sexually attracted to oh my God, I can't remember. Prepubescent. What is it?
No, but I'm talking about
children, and only prepubescent children, showing no erotic interest in adults. They can only become sexually aroused while fantasizing or being in the presence of a prepubescent child.
Registered sex offender.
A registered. So
yeah, find out what encapsulates that whole thing.
He's a pedophile. If he's a registered sex offender, it's because he probably did something.
Of course. What I'm saying is that the whole thing I just said, that I believe you can, like, for example, if a guy, if a guy raped a person over 18 years old, it's not a pedophile, but it's still a registered sex offender, right? They would still be a sex offender.
If they raped, I don't know. Is that a sex offender when you rape? Or is that just
what would it be?
I don't know. So it says, showing no erotic interest in adults, they can only become sexually aroused while fantasizing about or being in the presence of pre-pubescent.
Why do you keep researching pedophiles?
This is the difference between, I'm reading the difference between a pedophile and a sex offender. If the attraction is a sexual preference for a prepubescent children, such offenders are considered pedophiles in the same vein as exclusion offenders.
What?
It's the same. They're still
I don't know about that. I feel like we need to do a little more research. But so put God, this is like somebody searches our search there. But put is rape considered?
So a sex offender is a person who has been convicted of a sex-related crime,
right?
Which may or may not involve a person who is considered a child under the law.
Exactly.
That's what you're looking for.
That's what I'm saying. So we're assuming that this guy is, which is most likely the case, right? But my whole thing was, just because someone is registered a sex offender, it doesn't necessarily mean they're a pedophile.
A pedophile for children. Yes.
Correct.
Yes, you're right.
Now, having said that, this dude definitely gives that. It gives
I wonder
all
if
the
when you look
signs.
Up when you look up for sex offenders in your area, if it says pedophile, like if it specifically tells you,
I don't know.
If this person is for young, has gone after young children or whatever versus raping an adult.
That's a good
Not
question.
that it matters because it's horrible to have that person in your neighborhood, but
I think
in the
it
sense
does.
Of that, wanting to know if this is somebody who is for has done something to children and he's in your neighborhood.
I'm pretty sure that it does, because I don't know. We have to research that. But my whole thing is this. So before even getting into this comment, which I'm sure everybody has already read it, but that's because I've delayed it. But so I know 2 cases that were registered sex offenders, and they allegedly didn't. It wasn't what it seemed. So the first case was somebody that was applying where I used to work, and he was a young guy. I think at the time, when he was interviewing, I think he was like in his mid-20s, maybe late 20s, and I guess a few years earlier, he was dating a girl that was under 18, and something happened, and apparently he got, I don't know. I don't remember the details, but apparently it was like a mutual consenting thing at a time, but then I don't know if the parents did something. I don't know. So the point is that he was dating, let's say, a 17-year-old. He was dating either a 16 or a 17-year-old, and he was, let's say, 20, 21, 22. That's tricky. So, but I don't know the full story there, so I don't want to assume, but assuming what the story that he told us is legit, and that it was consensual, and it was just, just bad circumstances, then that sucks. The other, at the same place, it was a client that worked for us at the time there. He, again, this is all allegedly, but he was a registered sex offender, and it was because his ex walked in and his stepdaughter was sleeping with him, sleeping on the same bed, but nothing happened. But then that was the story. But then the way I see it is like, if it really wasn't that bad, why did the wife call the cops? You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why there's always 2 sides to every story. I don't know, but assuming that they're right, there's always like these weird little loopholes, but I think those are far and few between. So anyways, to get back to this comment. So father who confronted this pedophile posted this comment actually. He says, so the guy in the video, smacking the guy, writes, I love my kids and I love kids in general, but this man is a registered sex offender. When we first moved in, I was so happy the kids could play at the end of the road out there with their friends. Then this guy moves in and we find that he's a pervert. I warned him 5 times about talking to my little girl and the neighbor's children, and he thought, and the neighbor's children, today he thought he could try to get 3 little girls to come over and play with him. If that's for real, then yeah, this is super well deserved. My wife called me and I said, call the police. They didn't get there before me, and I had to do what I had to do. It might look like I'm beating him badly, but I knew if I started punching him, I wouldn't be able to stop, so I kept my hand open the whole time. I wanted him to hear what I was saying just as much as he needed to feel. So that explains. So he asked her to call the cops. By the time he got there, cops still hadn't arrived, so he confronted the guy.
Oh, okay. So they did call the cops.
Again, allegedly, there's always 2 sides to every story.
Right.
But it looks like so far everything is checking out. So if assuming what we're seeing here is the real story, I don't blame the guy. The only part that makes it a little weird and uncomfortable to watch is because you don't see the old man. If you see the old man talking to the daughter, and then you see that, you're like, no problem, you know. But just seeing that without the full context is a little bit like, eey.
Well,
but then you're seeing everything.
Know that he's a pedophile. And just
yeah, but then you hear everything he's saying.
Well, you hear it.
Yeah, you hear everything he's saying, and I mean, the guy did. I know that there's some crappy lawyer that will probably find a way to like sue the guy for beating him up.
Well,
and he didn't even beat him up.
And she does have the video. I mean, it does show him slapping him the one time, but I don't think he'll get far from it. He's a sex offender.
Well, I hear you. But at the end of the day, I guess you can argue that it's he said, she said.
Well, there's a video.
There's a video of him being beat up, not a video of the guy talking to the girl.
Right, but you hear him saying, so I don't know.
It gets a little tricky, but it's horrible. It really is horrible because, and to get to what you were saying, so I understand that it could be a disease, and I understand that some people can't help it, but that doesn't excuse it.
Yeah.
And so the part that it's really hard for me to understand is, in a lot of cases, sex offenders or pedophiles, it's happened to them. So if it's happened to you, why would you want to do that to somebody else? You know how difficult that is. You know how hard it is on someone. So why give that pain to somebody else? Why do that?
Yeah.
And I know that some people, it's almost like I'm sure it's not a rumor, but you know how some people would get AIDS and then they would just sleep with as many people as they could just to get back. So maybe that's what it is, but that's just a shitty thing to do.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Two types of people. The people that continue the pattern and do it to others, and then you have the people who break that pattern and do better with their life and their family because they don't want the same impact that happened to them to happen to others. There's a strong and a weak, unfortunately.
It's terrible. And unfortunately, it's so common. Yeah. That is so common, like kids being molested and harassed and whatnot. It's
you see somehow just kicks in. So if you guys hear it over me.
Actually, that howl.
Yeah.
You hear it?
It's so weird. But anyways.
Yeah, I wanted to share that because it's so. Let me switch the camera back.
If you are concerned
about crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. If you're ever concerned, if you have sexual predators, whatever they're called, in your area, in your home, you can look for them online to see if there are any in your area.
Wasn't there that documentary that we saw about a priest in Ireland or England that the guy, he was basically saying, look, he's like, I understand what I'm doing is bad, but I just can't help it. It's like,
which I also don't know sometimes if it's an excuse that they're using, but I do feel that if they really do have a mental issue, that it's kind of like, I want to compare it because, well, I don't know. It's just, I think Listen, a lot of them can't help it.
I try my best to always see both sides of every story. And I try to put myself in somebody's shoes that, let's assume that you were born that way, that whatever it is, and it's your thing. It's like if you're a guy, a straight guy that is like in love with like I don't know, what's that girl from Margot Robbie or something, or Charlize Theron, and like that same attraction is what you have, or a woman feeling for Ryan Reynolds, and that's the same kind of feeling that you have. It's got to be horrible to have that feeling and know how messed up it is and that it's wrong.
Especially if you understand that it's wrong, and that you shouldn't have these feelings.
Let me see if I could find. I remember it was I don't know if I could find this in a hurry, but it was. I want to say it was an Irish priest. Pedophile documentary.
I think I don't know if...
Yeah, this one. Deliver Us from Evil. That's the one.
Was he Irish? I don't remember.
We'll find out.
But I do know. I do remember the documentary. It was a long time ago that we saw that one, I think.
So it's called Deliver Us from Evil in 2006. So yeah, it's a 2006 American documentary film that explores the life of Irish Catholic priest Oliver O'Grady, who admitted to having molested and raped approximately 25 children in Northern California from the late 70s through the early 90s.
Unbelievable.
The film was written and directed by Amy Berg, won the Best Documentary Award in 2006. I don't know if it's going to say it here, but let me see here. The synopsis. The film chronicles O'Grady's years as a priest in Northern California. So spoiler, mute this part if you don't want to hear it.
If you want to watch this and not know more about it.
Where he committed his crimes after being convicted of child molestation, serving 7 years in prison. O'Grady was deported to his native Ireland. And this is crazy because in the actual documentary, I think it's this one, that they move him. So a lot of people complained about that, or they said that happened. So the Catholic Church shifted him to another church in a different area.
I think you're right. I think that they had mentioned it. A couple people came forward saying that he molested them or whatever, and instead of firing him and him not being able to be a priest in any other church, they moved him to another church. And I think they moved him to multiple different churches before finally convinced.
I think, and then he kept doing it, and then.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, you keep hearing about it, and it's like, what the hell?
Especially because it's a church. Like, how dare you? How dare you think that that's okay and just move him to another church and brush it off? That is just unbelievable to me.
I just don't get it. I mean, especially as a church.
Exactly. That's like
if that happens at anywhere,
huge sin. I don't get it. Yeah. I don't get it.
It suggests that church officials were aware of O'Grady's crimes and they took steps to conceal them to protect him and the church.
Yep. Yeah. So, because they were trying to protect the church. So let's protect the church over the children. No, you're protecting the church and the children by firing him and sending him to the authorities.
Yeah.
That would be protecting the church. Things happen, I think people would eventually understand that it's not your specific fault. It's not the church's fault that this guy, got through. I think they would praise them more by
guy's still alive.
Seeing that they sent him to jail or whatever. He's still alive. Wow, how old is he?
74.
Yeah, unbelievable.
He's Irish.
But anyways,
25 children in California from 1973 onwards. His abuse and Cardinal Roger Mahoney attempts to hide the crimes, according to the documentary. I really wanted to see the part where he gives his perspective.
But anyways, you guys should watch this documentary if you're interested. It's a good documentary.
I thought it was it sounds silly, but I thought it was a scary movie. I think that's why I was
Is that why you put
into it.
No, I don't think
it's called Deliver Us from Evil.
But I was watching it with you. I don't like scary movies. I think I knew it was a documentary.
Look at the cover. Well, I don't know. Now that I don't think I was able to see the little kid there. But come on, that looks like an awesome scary movie, right? So I think that's why
it's a scary thing.
I rented
that's for sure.
This is that's the scariest horror movie because it's real.
So
it's so crazy. So anyway, in that documentary, at the end they interview him. I don't remember how it goes. I think they interview him at the end, or it's kind of or maybe he's talking as he's narrating it.
A long time ago. No,
anyways, the point is
narrating it.
The point is that
he's not narrating.
He's basically saying just that he knows what he's doing is horrible, but it's something that he just can't overcome, and that he can't help it. It's hard. It's hard because I try to put myself in people's shoes and try to be devil's advocate. But that was hard. I just can't understand it. I can't understand. It's so complicated. It's so complicated because there's no proper answer to that. Doing anything to kids is the worst thing in my eyes because they're innocent and your actions are going to ruin that kid's life forever.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and then it's almost like a coronavirus where so now that person's infected And most likely, according to statistics, that person's going to probably do it to somebody else, maybe more than one person. So it's like this shitty, crappy thing to do.
To somebody, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just doing that to anybody is horrible.
Yeah.
But to kids, it's like, to me, it really is unforgivable. I understand that you can tell me all you want, that it's just the way I am. It's just the way this. It's just that.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know what, dude? Control it.
What I don't get, right?
I want to kill people sometimes. I would love to kill, not really. Not really. Oh my God. But I would love to, let's say, whatever, hypothetically, whatever, somebody, I don't know. I mean, it's not enough reason to kill someone, but if somebody cuts you off, everybody would like to kill somebody at some point, right? It doesn't make it right.
No, not kill.
Really?
But anyways, no.
Never in your life have you wanted to be like, I want to kill this guy or person.
No. Do I want to punch him in the face? Yes. But anyways.
Not once? I guess I'm...
Point is that the point is for me is that if they see that it's wrong, they understand that it's wrong, but they still do it. That's the part that I don't get.
You've never wanted to kill someone? Like, you never felt
that is
like
the end of our podcast, guys.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. That's it. Horrible.
It's crazy. Offenders. It's a crazy story. So going back to this man, dude, I 100% understand what you did. I really understand what you did. I think I would have done the same thing.
I think most people would have done the same thing, if not worse, which is why I said I kind of give him
the only other thing that he could have done that might have been better is wait for the cops.
I guess maybe he didn't want him to get away. Maybe he was trying to leave.
The guy was sitting. He's 60.
He looked like he was sitting, yeah.
But
and you know where he lives.
It's 5 times that he said it.
And if you know where he lives, the cops will just go to his house. But I get you.
But you know what? This is basically what's that thing called?
But you know what? We don't see what happened before he went and grabbed him. So maybe the guy was saying something that set him off even more. Because if they had already called the cops and then...
I don't get that impression, but you're right. It could be.
Yeah.
But this could almost, like, if I'm this guy and some lawyer or something comes after me, I'd be like, dude, this is like, which is 100% understandable. It's like temporary insanity. Like, think about it. Think about it. You call me and you tell me that some neighbor or some whatever is talking to our kids, and like you'll flip out. Especially, yeah.
Yeah, especially. That's what the part that gets, that's the part that I'm like, okay, because he he says allegedly that he
dude, that fires you up. I'm thinking about it, and it's like firing me up.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So
yeah, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, I mean,
and then it sucks. You don't. People are gonna say, oh well, don't have your kid playing in the front yard if you know you have a sex offender near you. But that shouldn't have to be. You shouldn't have to not be able to. Your 6-year-old is not going to understand why they can't.
That's
play
the same argument of. Yeah, it's the same argument that people say like. I mean, I haven't heard this in a long time, but I have heard people say this, where it's like, like, a girl doesn't want to get whistled at, she shouldn't be wearing a short skirt, or she doesn't want to be harassed, don't provoke it. It's like,
no, you know that you shouldn't do that, don't do it.
Yeah, it's like, it's just,
yeah.
It just makes sense. So, I don't know, man, this is crazy. But I will say this, if you do have, as crazy as those feelings are, if you feel you have that, if you feel that there's something you can't control, you should really look to get help. Yeah. I don't know if I would assume that a therapist or a psychologist or something would be the person. Psychiatrist. Sure. Seek help, because, you don't want to ruin somebody's life, So if you even feel some weird kind of thoughts or whatever, it's better to do that. Maybe talking about it is enough to help. Maybe you need some meds. Who knows what it is, but it's whatever it is, do the best that you can to get that resolved as best you can, because it's not going to look good for yourself, for anybody. So please, if you feel that you have something like that, just talk to somebody. And this video it's satisfying and sad. I think that's, you don't seem to.
Satisfied.
Well, it's satisfying because it's kind of like
grabs the guy, but
well, because you want you know how you hear about it, but nobody ever does. Well, it's not that nobody ever does, but you never see somebody actually go through with what they say. So this guy looks like he goes through with it. So that's the satisfying part. And it's sad because it's just an old person that
I'm assuming he's back in jail because I'm pretty sure that's part of like the probation.
I don't know if they've followed up with it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, yeah, because if it is a pedophile, you shouldn't be initiating that conversation.
If he is a sex offender for children, then yeah, he should. I believe you're not.
But if that's the case, they should have called the cops forever ago.
Yeah, I might have called up. I guess maybe they gave him the benefit of the doubt of like.
There's no benefit of the doubt in that case.
No, I know, but I'm saying maybe they gave him like the second chance of, I told you once, don't talk to my kid, and But you know what? Yeah, if this is like multiple times, I would have called like at least the second time.
I would have called the first time.
Once, and then they did it again.
No, I would have done it the first time. It's like, why risk it?
Yeah,
like, why? Okay, so let's put ourselves in that situation.
Well, we don't know if they didn't. If maybe they did.
Well, what I'm saying is.
Well, we don't know.
What was it? Maybe the kid. So what if the kid actually went up to him and asked, "My ball went over your fence." You know what I mean? Like that could happen.
It could,
so I can understand. I can understand if that was the situation.
If that was the situation, but this child's 6 years old.
Well, what he's saying.
You don't need to explain fully why you can't talk to this neighbor.
What he's saying
here.
Explain
to your child that they're not allowed to talk to them, and that if you're playing with the ball or whatever it is, and it goes into the yard, that you need to come call mommy and daddy, and we will go ahead and get it. You need to talk to your children as well. You don't need to give them specifics, but. Also, they're 6 years old. I doubt that this child was playing by themselves in the front yard.
Of course. In a small town? I don't know where they live.
Maybe, I guess. I don't know.
But he says with friends. Because, look, he said he thought he would try to get 3 little girls to come over and play with him. So if that's true,
yeah, some of them are playing outside with some friends.
Well, I think he says he has 3 daughters, right?
Well, no, it doesn't say anything about 3 daughters.
Well, I think in the video.
It says that he has a 6-year-old daughter.
Well, anyways, the point is, it's crazy. I just can't stop processing it. But anyways, it was it's not a cool video. It's not a cool video at all. It's just like a default thing that I say.
Oh my gosh.
It's a horrible video. It's a video that we thought we should share because
it's something that's out there. It's something that we don't think about. Like, I don't think about if there's a sex offender in my neighborhood, honestly. It's not something that first comes to mind. But it is something that's super important that we need to be aware of, and just be aware of your surroundings with your children. Teach them not to talk to strangers. If it happens to be a neighbor that they have seen, it's still a stranger to them. And explain to them. You don't need to go into detail, but explain to them that they are not allowed to talk to this person. If this person does talk to them, to come tell mommy and daddy. You need to be open, communicative with your children. That's so important, not just in this case, but for just things in general, for them to be able to come to you. Yeah. I think it's important.
Yeah, communication is key. Yeah. So again, want to wrap it up, but once again, if there's anybody out there that has these feelings, it's got to be hard. So, before these feelings take over or do, anything happens, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody, because it's better for you to do that, because there's nothing good that's going to come from that. You're not going to find some place that's going to accept you because of that. So you want to talk about it and hopefully find a solution for that. And I think that's pretty much it. So anything else to add? Nope. It's a weird video to end.
To our channel, por favor. Like this video. I think it's very important to spread the news that there are these sex offenders out there and pedophiles in your neighborhood. So we just need to be aware and more cautious and talk to your children.
I think it makes, so go to your, I think it's the county website that you would go to. If you're in the States, you go to the county website, and I'm pretty sure that it has a link there for to search. You
could just
sex
even Google
offenders.
Sex offenders in my area,
and
it'll pop up.
Just because you find people near you doesn't mean it's okay to harass them. For all we know, who knows what the story is, but maybe they've realized the error of their ways and they just want to be left alone.
Yeah, maybe
so you don't
change.
Yeah,
you don't know.
All you want to do when you see this is be aware.
It's just to be aware, especially if you have children.
Just be aware. It's not cool to chase these people down. Don't be that person.
Yeah. I agree.
But just be aware. They for sure have photos of the. They have the address and photos. At least that's how I saw it.
Yeah, it has the person's like mugshot probably.
So be aware.
Their address, I think.
It's good to know what's around you. We're actually going to do that now as soon as we finish this video.
I know. Right now, I'm like, shit, kind of curious. Yeah. Hopefully, there are none in our area. But.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Take care. I'm Tony.
Kristen.
And this is Absolutely Stubborn. Tune in for the next one.
Stubborn today.